I haven't really shared too much of this story. I'm not quite there yet. Even to the point of me leaving, things just got worse. People that I love and I was so close to, it got worse. The things that were being said about me, just like betrayal that I was experiencing, I had never experienced. And even moving here, like when I still was trying to go back and still have relationships with people from the past, my heart kept getting broken. Like,
obviously, we went through some major church hurt. I had a spiritual father who I was up under, and he did not agree with me being with you.
After we made that decision, everything went up. Everything went up.
I stopped fighting with
intimacy, our friendship, our money, our careers, our ministry, YouTube, podcast, everything went up. We say, you know what? We're not fighting it no more. It took us being like, and I don't give a darn what y'all gotta say.
This is an Iwebu production.
Period. Okay, y'all, so moving on to the aha moment of the week.
Aha moment of the week.
Yes.
And it didn't happen to you. It happened for you.
Dun, dun, dun. Yes, this was something, the aha moment happened for me, and then you put a word to it, like this to it, but you also have been experiencing this. And so I know growing up, it's back at home, I have always just been searching for a place to call home, a place to call my community, my tribe. Like, people back at home know I talked about sisterhood and community so much. Like, it was the biggest thing because I just never felt like I had it. Well, I have 3 sisters that I grew up with, but we are pretty far in age. Like, I'm like 10, 12, 13 years from all of their, in their age. And then we all just have really different lives. And so I learned along the way that just because you're blood don't mean that they gonna be your best friends. And that was a hard pill for me to swallow, because I'm like, I got sisters, like I don't need nobody. And it was like, well, no, you got sisters, but they're not your tribe and your people. And so I searched for so long, just always seeking for sisterhood and for community. And so when we went to our church that we met, I was like, okay, this is it. Like, okay, I don't have no connection with them. This is not my blood. They don't know me from, what they say, the can of paint, like they don't know. I ain't heard that in a minute, but so I was like, okay, this is a great start. I was so excited, y'all. I will wake up in the morning. This is when I sung on a praise team. I would run at 6 a.m., run in the morning. I was tripping, but I was so excited, and ended up getting some, disheartening news that, there was a conversation. I guess I can say it was you now.
Yeah, it was. Yeah.
Well, but he ended up telling me that you were, you can tell the story.
Yeah, no, this is when we were friends and we were talking, and and you had told me that it was kind of been hard to connect with women in the church, and I don't know how it came about, but I remember being in a barbershop, and it was a young lady in there, and this young lady, I don't know how your name came about. But when somebody said your name, she's like, I don't like her. It's like, well, and me and another person's like, well, because we was like, she seemed pretty cool.
Yeah.
And she was like, she just be doing too much. She didn't really have no other explanation, just that you be doing too much. I'm like, I've never seen you do too much, or
yeah.
I think it might have been your fashion, because you definitely was the most fashionable person there, and
not even on purpose, y'all. I grew up in dang near Pentecostal, churchy church, tights, heels, dress. Y'all let me know if y'all know what I'm talking about. But I was a church girl, so I was 20 when I went to this church, by the way. And when I went there, I just came from what I knew. I thought that I could come to this place as I was, but I stood out because I was wearing dresses and heels and tights and makeup, earrings, jewelry. I was fur coats, I didn't know I was being extra. That's just what I knew.
Trying to be.
I wasn't trying to be at all. But it was disheartening hearing it, because I'm like, dang, so the church that I chose, I ain't about to have sisterhood here either. And I remember seeing her. I had never met this girl that he told me was talking about me. But I remember seeing her next Sunday, and I made sure I went up to her like, hey, beautiful, how are you doing, sis? But I remember it just almost every season of my life just pulling for people to love me, accept me. I know, I'm going to step in a room. I'm probably going to have an outfit that's fly. That's who I am. And it's crazy because trying so hard to fit in these groups for all of those years and never ever feeling at home worked for my good.
Yeah.
And there was a moment that when we got to Atlanta, Nambi, I think I was like crying or I was sad about something. And I remember you saying, and if they would have loved you, you would have stayed where you were. Mm-hmm. If they would have accepted you, we would have still been at that church. Mm-hmm. If they would have honored y'all would still be in Kansas City. Mm-hmm. And so is there something on me?
No, I'm good. I'm good.
And so for some of us, you literally have to experience that to move. Some of us are disobedient, you know, like God could be telling you this is not the church for you. God could be telling you this is not the man for you. But sometimes you don't move until, unfortunately, he hit you the first time. Mm-hmm. Unfortunately, he cheat on you for the first time. Unfortunately, when your family disrespect, dog you out, then you like, I gotta go. Yeah. And so it was years of just never feeling like I belonged, never feeling like I was really locked in. I never really had like a best friend. I never really had like sisterhood. I never really felt like I belonged anywhere. Yeah. And now understanding 30 years later that I wasn't supposed to be there. Yeah. And had I been comfortable at my hometown, had I ever really settled in, I would have been settled. And I would have settled as far as my calling, as far as like me moving to Atlanta. That wasn't even just a heart thing. That was kingdom. Like that was business. That God's like, no, you got to do some stuff. So let me shake you up out of your comfort zone, because that's what it was for me. And it's so crazy, y'all, because even up to me, I haven't really shared too much of this story, and I'm not quite there yet to fully share it. But even up to the point of me leaving, y'all, things just got worse. Like people that I love and I was so close to, tough. It got worse. Like the things that were being said about me, just like betrayal that I was experiencing, I had never experienced. And even moving here, like when I still was trying to go back and still have relationships with people from the past, my heart kept getting broken. Like I just had a revelation just recently where I was like, dang, that person too, where I was like, I was crushed. And it just gave me that drive. You gotta go. You like even here, not just go like leave, but like go do what God has called you to do. I told my cousin the other day, I said, you better walk in purpose, because if you don't, you'll sit around and just be sad about all that you don't have and all that you lost. I have experienced loss from relationships that I just knew I would have forever. And so that is one thing that happened to me. It did, but it happened for me. Because had I experienced the love that I was so desperate for, I wouldn't have moved, and I would not be doing what I do.
No, that's true. And we came to this revelation crazy in the same week, separately. In
same week.
Yes, within the same week. That, I was listening to something from Myron Golden, and that's what it had this revelation of, that these things had to happen. He was talking about if he didn't have polio, I guess, in his leg or something, that he probably would have been more into sports and all that versus being more into his intellect and all those things. And so he never looked at himself like as being a victim or anything. Because he said, I stopped comparing myself to my brothers, that they could run, they could do all these different things. Well, he said all my energy had to go into my mind, like, and what I was able to do there. And so I was like, gosh, Lee, I'm like, it didn't happen to me. It happened for me. Like I was just thinking about, obviously we went through some major church hurt. Yeah. I had a spiritual father who I was up under, and he did not agree with, me being with you. Right. Regardless, like if I'm trying to work it or whatever, he's like, nah, I'm not with it. And if you don't listen to me on this thing, I remember these words, I'm gonna have to take my hands off of you. Like I'm gonna have to stop. Basically, I have to remove my hand from you, and that crushed my soul. It crushed my being. At that time, I was like, dang.
I remember that
because
day.
I don't agree with you on this situation.
I remember that day, y'all. He was hit. We were unfortunately living together. Let me just say that. So when he had came home from that conversation, or
no, we weren't living together. No,
we wasn't living together at that point. No, because that's when I was fresh pregnant.
Yeah, that was.
I just happened to be at your house.
A week of finding out that she was pregnant.
Oh, was okay. Then we definitely was living together. So, but I was at your house, and you came back from that conversation. I remember I kept asking, I'm like, what happened? Remember, I was so confused. I'm like, you are like visibly, y'all. I saw spiritually, I felt he was like something got taken. Something was removed from you. I just remember that day. So when he says it crushed him, and he was in that for like a year.
Cool minute, because I just knew that leaving you was not not messing with you was not the answer. Like, we about to have a child, and you was also having second thoughts on even going through with it, and I didn't want you to commit that sin, but you double down on it. So I'm like, I'm not about to leave this girl right now. Like, even though you my spiritual father, I just don't agree with you on this one. This is probably the first time we had a real disagreement. He let me know too at that time. He said, this is a pivotal point in our relationship right here.
If you don't do
what you do right now will determine how our relationship goes from here. He made sure to let me know that. That's as far as I'll give y'all the insight on that conversation.
Because scary.
Needless to say, I said, I'm not going that route. I believe that this woman, eventually I seen her down the road, could be my wife. So I wanted to at least try to have, continue to work through a relationship with her and just see if we can actually be. But that hurt. It hurt big time, because I just felt kind of abandoned. I really looked up to this person, right? I didn't really, my father was in my life, don't get it wrong. My dad was really good, but there's certain parts that he couldn't give me that spiritual side. He didn't necessarily give me that side of, hey, come here, Junior, let me show you how a man is supposed to do this, how he's supposed to treat a wife and all that. He's just not that type of guy. It's okay. No disrespect to my father. He's great in his area, but he was filling in this other area. So it was like, dang, I'm out here then, right? But when I fast forward and I look at it, I'm like, thank you. Thank you to that pastor, because I know how much I was into that church. I mean, I was posting flyers like I was the marketing team or something. That's all I was with that. I remember one of my homies seeing me. He said, you like the actual promoter at church. Like, I only know about them because of how much you promote them. Like, you are that person, even though you're not getting paid to be it or anything, right? And so I was just in this, some people could say, almost in this cult-like mentality. I maybe idolized, unfortunately, my pastor to a certain level, which was not healthy. That's not his fault, it's mine. And I'm just so glad, because even our situation, God didn't necessarily want it to happen that way. He probably had us for each other, but he didn't want me to pervert the relationship by end up, having sex with you outside of marriage. He said, I'm going to use that right there. I'm going to use this situation right now, because you're a little bit too much up under him, but you need to be more up under me. Okay. You need to see this word for yourself, even to the point that I remember when we actually tried to go and I was hard headed. I tried to go back. Well, took us back. She was with me, and we went ahead and we went back to this old church. Yeah. We went to this old church, trying to make it better. Man, it was an uphill battle. I mean, people gonna believe what they believe. They're gonna treat you how they perceive you to be. Whatever somebody has told them, they're gonna treat you that way. And we were having sit down talks. All this just wasn't gonna work out. Soon as we made the decision to leave, I remember seeing a video that was, I think it was about Alan Parr, and it was about if these 5 things are happening at your church, you may need to reconsider. It was something like that, or if your pastor is doing this. And I was looking at it, and it was like 3 out of 4. Now, mind you, Alan Parr is big on the Bible. So you go look at any of his videos, everything is in right context. Right. So he's bringing it all back to scripture. And I never had seen it like this, but for the first time, was like, okay, I'm out here, and God was like, let me show you something. And he showed me that through Alan Parr. It was like, the pastor was like 3 or 4 out of those 5, or in that environment was. Then Ruslan had some stuff, and Ruslan was breaking stuff. I was like, dang it, I never saw it this way. I really didn't. And he started to open my eyes. Fog. I was really out of the fog for once. And it's something that needed to happen for me. So I look back at it, and I'm like, thank you.
Go ahead. Thank you.
Thank you for doing what you did. Like, at the end of the day, I told my wife this all the time. People weren't trying to do something. That's just, they believe they're doing what's right. They ain't lost no sleep over it, ain't tripping, nothing. Mm-hmm. But with you, God had a purpose for that situation. Just like Joseph, he had the purpose. His brothers selling him into slavery. Okay, and then eventually coming in, he's ruling the whole land that they eventually coming to. Mm-hmm. He had a purpose for that situation at that time.
For the betrayal.
For that betrayal at that time. I was like, man, thank you. That happened for that didn't happen to me. It happened for me. It said, Nnamdi, release that victim mentality that you had. Yeah. You're not a victim in that. You actually a victor. Absolutely. And that's the same thing I want to say to anybody on the other side of this camera. You are a victor. Like, that relationship had to be broken up. Thank God for all the women that said no to me back in the day, or it just didn't work out. There wasn't a lot of women that never said no to me. Let's just be honest and clear. But there were women that maybe I flirted with and it didn't go the way I wanted it to. I actually do remember hollering at somebody that said no at that time, that was actually in the church, good, believing woman, whatever the case may be. And she said no, she wasn't dating at that time. God didn't have her doing it. Okay. But I thank God for that, because I wouldn't be with my wife. You know what I'm saying? It didn't happen to me. It happened for me. I remember my job in KC, and we talked about this, about our reason for moving to ATL. I was in there. I'm talking about, I gave 7 years or so to that job?
Definitely.
7 years. I made one mistake, and I didn't even know how I made the mistake. And my manager act like he's gonna, get this all fixed, all of that. Didn't happen. Played me to the left, had me watch the market for him while he go out of town, all of that. Dang. At the end of the day, comes back, hey, you at one of your stores? Hey, come to your store. Fires me.
He was so happy about
that. Never had a write-up.
He was so happy about
he was happy. He was very happy. He didn't like me. He didn't like me. The district manager that was before that liked me.
He was so trash.
He was.
Oh, I could not stand him.
Again, I say that happened for me because I didn't know what I was gonna do. All I known was retail and doing that. Yeah. I remember getting to my career, the now career that I'm in now, and I was like, baby, I don't know I never talked to people on the phone and selling them over the phone. Like I said, something else gonna come through.
Yeah.
Best thing to happen, because now it opened up to where I could come here, and we've been progressing. We've been in rooms that we haven't been in. Again, somebody right now receive that. Like, get out of, stop feeling like, man, they did me this way, they did that way. Why did he do this? Why did he leave me? Or why, whatever the case may be.
Fighting the inevitable is what we do.
That's a lot of times.
Even us going back to the church, we were trying to heal something and patch something and be God. And God's like, you're not supposed to be there.
Go ahead.
Go ahead.
No, go ahead. Everything that has been a blessing has been on the other side of that decision.
What you mean?
Everything, like, since when we made that decision, we're going to leave that church. Because even think about it. We was about to go to one of our friends' churches, and we thought, okay, certainly it's probably good over here. Well, we get there and they're talking, and they basically were on their way of moving.
Yeah, they were leaving.
And so we're like, so happened we go to Atlanta like the next week or a few weeks after that, and we're like, we love it here. Yeah. So
I don't know where I was going.
Stop fighting the inevitable. Like, you were trying to be God.
Yes, I think like a lot of us are just trying to be God. Like for me, I fought for like family. Like these are gonna be, and it's like, but it might not be what it's supposed to be. Yeah. And a lot of times you end up breaking your own heart by having expectations on something that was supposed to be temporary, making it permanent. Yeah. So something, and I said this when we first got together, I was like, everything is temporary. Yeah. Everything is temporary. Like,
I don't want to lose you. Don't say that.
Yeah, and I know he was so mad when I said I was like, everything is temporary, and I still believe that way. Now, marriage and some things are you do have for a very long time, but I'm just saying, like, have the mentality of I'm going to enjoy this, because this is the thing: when you put expectations on something that's either ran its course or was supposed to be temporary, you end up getting heartbroken, expecting this person to do this, fighting for this, and it's like, if you just let it go, guess what? You can actually love them for who they are, because you don't have an expectation. There's people right now, I don't have an expectation for them to call me. If we talk, it's just love. I don't expect you to hit me up. I don't expect you to be my best friend. I don't expect you to call and just know when I'm depressed and hit me up. Like, we be putting too much expectations on people too, just like we did, or you did with your pastor. Like that, he was not your God.
It was too much.
That was a man that's just a year older than you. Of course he fickle. Of course he gonna mess up. Of course I'm not hormonal, but what's the word? I'm emotional. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, so you got to look at it. Still trying to grow himself, and he trying to pastor somebody a year under him with baby mamas. Like, he didn't know. And so if we can step back, and the word is idolizing for everything, because you idolize your pastor, I idolize family, I idolize certain relationships above God, where God was telling me to leave. God was telling me this is it. There's no more, or just like shift your expectations. That's not your best friend. She's just your family. That's not your man. He's just brother in Christ. That your pastor is not your God. He is your shepherd for the moment, you know? And so when we can shift that, and you can realize, oh, I can love you because I'm not going to put all that on you. And so all of these things have worked together for our good when we stopped fighting the inevitable. The inevitable for Nnamdi and TK was to move out of Kansas City.
Yeah, it really
When
was.
we tried to go to church after church, connect with different pastors, we just kept getting disappointed.
Yeah, it just wasn't really, it wasn't like we was going there and getting locked in and then
we having
the same situation.
No.
It just like,
wasn't
this
working.
ain't our church home. This
Yeah,
ain't
it's not
our
our
home.
church home.
Just wasn't it.
And the unfortunate thing about church, when they're unhealthy, is that they can be like a mafia. So when you think that you are just connecting with brothers and sisters, they have an agenda for you.
Yeah, or if you leave the church, you think that you still gonna be like cool with certain people.
No, they don't be cool
like
with
not in most cases. A lot of cases, it's just not.
If you don't
like
go to their
that.
church, they don't be cool with you.
Yeah, it's just
Point blank period. And so everything that we have been through has worked for our good. And that's why we titled this, It Didn't Happen to You, It Happened for You. It literally happened for you. Like you told me, baby, if you would have been loved, if you would have been accepted, if pastor would have never taken his hands off of you, we would have been regular, mundane, mediocre couple in that church.
Real talk.
Like we wouldn't be doing what we do.
And we wouldn't be here for those who's gone through the same things that we've been through, because a lot of our inboxes is from church hurt, or a lot of our inboxes is from marriage stuff, for people that might have rushed into the bedroom a little bit, had some issues in their first like 2 to 3 years, whatever, like most people. Yeah. So now we can come from a real standpoint. Like when we talking to people and we end up counseling them or whatever, we like, oh, listen, bro, I remember when I was there just like that. I felt just like that. Let me tell you what I did to get out that situation.
Hope, because we were left with no hope.
Yeah, we had nobody.
Not only did we not have no hope, we were dang near cursed to say that we wouldn't even make it to 5 years. So
that's what we were told.
You got to think about all of the people that might have heard words like that ain't gonna work, that ain't gonna do this, and God needed us to get up out of there, see how perverted it was, see how cultish it was, see how bad it was, because we would have stayed in the fog. And so a lot of us stay in the fog with relationships and places. You, like I said, you got to stop fighting the inevitable. You with a man for 10 years, you know he ain't gonna marry you, and you want to be married. Stop fighting the inevitable. Get the heartbreak over. The pain gonna come. You know what I'm saying? But get it over with. And something about our pain as well. After we made that decision, everything went up. Everything went up.
I stopped fighting with the
intimacy,
Lord.
Our friendship, our money, our careers, our ministry, YouTube, podcasts, everything went up. Literally, we say, you know what? We're not fighting it no more. And it took us being like, and I don't give a darn what y'all gotta say. And this is why I talk about, tapping with TK. This is why I say on Tapping with TK, like, you got to get unapologetic about doing the things of God. Not bad things. No, doing the things of God. Yeah. You have to actually get unapologetic, because people want you to serve them, be up under them, do what they told you to do, just so you won't get past them. No, you got to get unapologetic. I'm called just like you.
Yeah, that's what I had to figure out.
I'm literally called just like you. Y'all watching us on YouTube, you got a ministry inside of you. You got a testimony to go speak. You got a business to go build. Y'all are called just like us. Definitely. And we're not going to build many TKs and many Nnamdis. That's not what we're out here to do, like some pastors want. Yeah. And then you got
to serve with an open hand.
Yeah.
You got to serve with an open hand. I heard this right from our pastor now. Pastor Philip, he said, these are not my people. These are God's people. Yeah. Serving with an open hand. That's what we do. So I'm not trying to make our own little kingdom or whatever. We have a community, a tribe of people that God has called us to.
That's not a kingdom, though.
We want to equip them build them and say, cool, now go lead the people that can only hear from your voice now. And that's exactly what the Lord wants us to do.
Yes,
So
don't fight the inevitable.
No, please
I just
don't,
keep hearing
man.
that in my spirit for somebody. Do not stop fighting the inevitable. Again, you with a man right now that you know don't have no plans to marry you. Or let me say, you thinking you about to marry potential and it's reality. The reality is, sis, he lazy. The reality is, sis, he ain't in church. The reality is, sis, so if you are not married, first of all, pay attention to reality. And then second of all, do not fight the inevitable, which is probably that y'all should not be together, which is probably you should not be at that job, which is probably you should not be at that church. Right. Stop fighting the inevitable.
Yeah, you probably shouldn't be at, like I said, somebody at that job right now. You may be listening to is about to go to that job or something like that, man.
Make your escape plan.
Make your escape plan. Somebody asked us about that yesterday when we was going live. Was like, what do you say? I think she said, even if you live with them. And this is like, well, I hope you're not married to them, but at the end of the day, whatever it is, make your escape plan. When we got together, we made a vision board.
Yes, we did.
Made a vision board. We wrote it out. And we said, and we put dates to it. That's what my wife is good at. See, because I would just wrote it down. But we put a date to it.
By May 15th, we up out of Kansas City.
We got to do this.
Yeah.
And I mean, because that time comes around so quickly. And so, make sure that you make whatever your escape plan is. You know he's been knocking on your door. You know your manager been getting on your daggone nerves. The job is not no good. Whatever it may be. That girl that you with, her mouth is just bad.
Friend groups. You down. That are keeping you at the same level. Yes. They're not growing. Everybody broke. Nobody growing in career, money, relationship with God, nothing. Stop fighting the inevitable and let what happened to you work for you. Let it work for you. A lot of times people are, all things work together. Yes, according to his plan for your life. Not you doing the same thing and expecting a miracle to arise up out of filth. Like that you got to be obedient too. And you got to stop being scary. A lot of us are so scared of what's on the other side, not knowing what's on the other side is actually your breakthrough.
I was there.
Yeah. So
I'm a witness. I was there. But let me tell y'all, for somebody who was like, what if we do make this move to Atlanta? What if it don't work out? That's me. Unfortunately, I'll be double thinking on stuff. I should never do that, but I do sometimes. Let me tell you.
Well, no, baby, it's good that you do sometimes because you are also the more stable person. Yeah. I'm a little more fickle. So I need you to be like, no, let's think this through real quick. Like we balance out each other, y'all. I am a big faith mover where I'm like, let's do it.
She crazy faith with it. Might be crazy faith. If she was somebody like hers, it might not lead to the right place.
Right.
But God has put us together where we're, she's stronger in areas that I'm not. And I thank God for that. I hope you got the same as far as that goes. So, man, you keep, the hint is there.
Right.
Make the move.
Yeah.
Whatever it is that move is, he's trying to say, hey, get out of there. This is happening. This is happening for a reason. They're talking to you like this for a reason. They messed up your check for a reason. Whatever it may be, it's for a reason. Make sure you do that. So I know that we not the only ones who had that revelation. If you've had that revelation too, that something happened to you, okay, for your good, for your greater, like to where you're at right now, man, share that in the comments below. If this bless you, also if you got value from this part of the segment too, share that in the comments below. Hey, thank you for making it to the end of this video. If you could do us a huge favor, please hit that like button and please subscribe.
Yes, and please do not forget to hit that notification bell. We need y'all to be locked in every single time we drop this fire content. Yes. Also, we need y'all to follow us on all social media platforms at The Ewables. And look, we will see y'all on the next video.